Get it together. If you are willing to overlook Donald Trump thinking that your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother are just pieces of meat and that he doesn't care about them, then I'm sorry. You're a coward. Now take your Monster Energy drinks, your lifted truck, and get the hell out.
When I was growing up, says a guy who looks like he's 12, and here we have the Democrats going back to the same well, a well that's completely dry because there was never any water in it to begin with. But this is all they have on the left. They don't know how to appeal to men, so after the gimmicks fail, the hats and all that stuff, they resort to insufferable, pretentious, irritating lectures delivered by the most annoying and inauthentic people on earth.
So one of the main topics of conversation this last week, ever since Barack Obama went on his little rant berating the black men for not wanting to vote for Kamala Harris, basically calling them misogynists. We'll see here.
And you're thinking about sitting out? And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly now, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that. And I think anybody you are talking to in a barbershop, anybody you are talking to in your house, in your family, at church, who is coming with that kind of attitude, I think you have to ask them, well, how can that be? Because the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. They've been raising us and working and having our backs. And when we get in trouble and the system's not working for us, they're the ones who are out there marching and protesting.
He makes a good point there. With Donald Trump's no tax on tips, that affects the barbers at the barbershop, tremendously. So yeah, go ahead and try to convince the barber that he should be voting for Kamala. These people depend on tips, and how fantastic would it be for them in their lives to not have to pay taxes on those tips, right? I mean, get real. But I showed that to explain that ever since Obama said this, the main topic of conversation for Democrats is trying to win over men to come vote for Kamala. And typically they do this by calling you misogynist and insulting you into, it's a bully tactic, insulting you into doing what they want you to do rather than being a free thinker and actually voting for what you truly want to do and what you truly feel is best for yourself and best for your community and best for fellow Americans. And when you look back over the last 8 years, most of us had more money, less debt, and better lives during Trump's 4 years, with exception of COVID, which everybody should understand, than they do during Kamala and Biden today. And so moving forward, I wanted to show you this next clip of Matt Walsh just completely destroying Harry Sisson when Harry Sisson tries to pull a similar move to what Barack Obama just did. And it's really fun to watch.
And if you want to appeal to voters, especially male voters, then authenticity is very important. Now, the Harris-Walz ticket can't match this authenticity because nothing about the candidates is genuine. If you put a Glock in Kamala's hands, and she'll do exactly what Tim Walz did, probably. When candidates are this fake and lame and desperate, their surrogates don't have much to go on. So they end up sounding inauthentic and desperate. Here, for example, are Jennifer Garner and Julia Roberts making what could be the single most inauthentic acting performance in their respective careers, which is saying something. Watch.
I just hope that all the women here tonight talk to all the men that aren't here tonight. And all you brave men that are here tonight. Talk to all the other men that aren't here tonight. And let's just get it going. Enough with the fighting. Let's get to the uniting. Let's get to the joy. Let's get to the repair. Let's get to prices dropping, rents dropping.
Listen, I know you've knocked, and I know you've called and called. I know you've given and given, and you're worn out. But the truth is, you are the front lines. This is it. I mean, I'm looking at these beautiful faces, these women, and these strong men. God, is there anything sexier than a man who is like men for Kamala? You are the front line of this battle, for lack of a better word. It really is. There are two ways forward, and you guys are going to have a huge voice in how that way is chosen.
So Julia Roberts wants women to go home and nag their husbands and boyfriends into supporting Kamala Harris. And if they do that, then prices will come down and we'll have joy again in the country or something. Never mind the fact that Kamala Harris is the sitting vice president and that by Kamala Harris's own admission, she bears responsibility for the Biden administration's policies. But don't think about that. Just berate as many men as you can find until they relent and do what you want. And then there's Jennifer Garner saying that men who support Kamala are sexy. Perhaps that will convince men to rush out to the polls. If they aren't convinced by the camo hat or by a lecture from Barack Obama, maybe they'll do it to impress Jennifer Garner. But, I highly doubt it. And if you're a left-wing male and you're passionate about Kamala Harris, at this point, you need to be somebody like Harry Sisson, the DNC shill who posts a lot on TikTok. Like him, you can't have any shame or self-respect whatsoever. So here was his pitch to men that he just posted a couple of days ago. And let's see if he does any better. Watch.
There are a lot of cowardly men out there who are supporting Donald Trump and think it's manly to do so. I don't know about you folks, but when I was growing up, all of the men around me told me to respect women, treat them with the dignity that they deserve, don't bully women, don't insult women. Donald Trump has done every single one of those things. He's bullied women, insulted them for their age, weight, appearance, things of that nature. He was found liable in court by a jury of his peers for assaulting a woman. And of course, to this day, he brags about taking reproductive rights away from women. So if you're a man and you're supporting this guy, what's wrong with you? Get it together. If you are willing to overlook Donald Trump thinking that your wife, your daughter, your sister, your mother are just pieces of meat and that he doesn't care about them, then I'm sorry, you're a coward. Now take your Monster Energy drinks, your lifted truck, and get the hell out.
When I was growing up, says a guy who looks like he's 12, and here we have the Democrats going back to the same well, a well that's completely dry because there was never any water in it to begin with. But this is all they have on the left. They don't know how to appeal to men, so after the gimmicks fail, the hats and all that stuff, they resort to insufferable, pretentious, irritating lectures delivered by the most annoying and inauthentic people on earth. Now, it's true that men will sometimes respond to a little bit of harshness, a little bit of tough talk, the old coach's speech in the locker room at halftime type of thing, but only when that tough talk is delivered by somebody who is serious and strong and credible, a leader of men, not a mousy little dork who would cry and call his mom if he got a flat tire. But this is the strategy the Kamala Harris campaign is now using in order to win over male voters. It's a mixture of insults and condescension. But all this stuff fails because the Democrats' message to men is fundamentally emasculating and debasing. They can't even pretend to respect the voters they're trying ostensibly to appeal to here. They can't even pretend to respect men, even as they're trying to berate men into voting for them. But that's the point of it. It's why they're promoting Doug Emhoff as a prototypical male, even after he had an affair with his nanny, even after he was accused of hitting his ex-girlfriend. The position of the Harris-Walz campaign is that none of that matters. In their eyes, you're masculine as long as you do one thing and one thing only, which is to submit to whatever liberal women want you to do. Just do whatever they tell you. Now, the problem for the Kamala Harris campaign, the reason they're flailing so publicly, is that despite Democrats' efforts to destroy it, actual masculinity still exists in this country. Men still exist. And in just a couple of weeks, to the great horror of Julia Roberts and Barack Obama, those men will vote. And they very well may be the ones who decide this election.
And Matt Walsh is 100% correct right there. I believe that these insults to men, black men, Hispanic men, all men, are going to have the reverse effect that what they hope, what they're used to. They're not talking to their cuck husbands, their cuck boyfriends that will do anything, simp all over them. They're talking to people that actually understand the, kind of the hierarchy of what being a man is. And you're not less of a man if you're not an alpha. Men respect other men as leaders, like he said, as far as, you know, a respectable coach, a boss that knows how to do the skill that you're trying to do, things like that. I mean, it was a regular part of my childhood getting yelled at by people that knew better, you know, learning how to frame a house, a football coach, a wrestling coach, a baseball coach. And the person being yelled at learns from that, right? At least not everybody, but that was the way that I was coachable to, that I, you know, learned from essentially. Somebody catering to me and telling me I'm doing a good job when I really wasn't. I didn't grow from that. And so that's what turned me into the man that I am, the father that I am today, was having good, strong mentors that were willing to tell you you're messing up, and then also learning how to realize that they're saying it the way that they are because they care and that they want you to get better. And so Harry Sisson, Barack Obama, all these Democrats, the mainstream media, The View, they're coming out here basically lying to their simp men in their audience, saying, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us. You guys are the strong, sexy ones. When the reality is they have no respect for those men. They're just using those men, and they probably lacked real men in their lives when they were growing up. So they don't even know what a real man looks like. And, you know, that's a message to fathers all across the world, all across the country, that if you have daughters, be the man that you want your daughter to end up with, right? Show them what a real man is by being one and being active in their life, right? I thought it was hilarious that Harry Sisson, who obviously doesn't have kids, who I don't even know if he's 25, his brain still isn't done developing, comes out here and tries to tell people what a real man is. I would take Matt Walsh's advice 100 times out of 100 opportunities over Harry Sisson's advice. And, you know, it's just crazy how disrespectful these Democrats are to their own people and how they treat their own men like idiots, right? You see it in the Marvel movies, you see it in TV. The Democrat apparatus, the mainstream media, Hollywood, they think that men, especially principled men, are doofus idiots, right? That's the way they want to. That's the way they've been showing and presenting men for decades now. And I think that these women have just been tricked. And if they haven't been tricked, they're straight up lying and they're being disingenuous. And so anyways, with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Go out there, vote for Donald Trump. That's who we need to win. We're in election season. Early voting starts real soon. It might have already started where you're at. So make sure you go out there, cast your vote early, and let's win this thing for Donald Trump. And so make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video, and come visit me on Saturdays at 8 p.m. I go live with the Jar Openers podcast every Saturday. So come say hi, come have the conversation, and we'll win this election, right? So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one.